The Wrestling Mayhem Show, Since 2006, the pioneer in pro wrestling podcasting.
This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us and IndyWrestling.network for your independent wrestling entertainment. Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you got to do, make it last. Wait for the perfect.
It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, episode 935. Tuesday's been talking about professionalized wrestling. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron. What did I do with my name there? At Sorgatron on the social medias, wherever those may be these days. With me is the one, the original recipe, Riz.
We bring the boom. That's what we do.
Okay.
We bring the boom.
Are you
We bring the
reading
boom
that,
to you.
or are you sleep booming? I hate it when I boom.
It's
in
been
my
a weird
sleep.
week, Sorg.
Yeah, it's been a
okay?
strange week. It is. You see
There's
your
a
name
child that
everywhere.
came out with the big show that had the longest walk for the big show since like WrestleMania.
We'll get
where he
it.
had to take that giant,
Oh, here we go.
like
Here we go.
that giant cart down to the ring.
Also with us is our guest for this week. Joe Dombrowski is with us
Hey!
in the studio. We're catching up. The couch is eating him already.
Oh, I love this couch. Sorg, you've done this 934 times before, and you have not lost your plucky, awkward, lovable charm. I got to appreciate
Is that how
this.
you describe what this is?
I'm an adjective guy. I got to have something for you. That's what we got. Yeah.
I love it when Asylum told me I smile like I'm full of shit.
He must have
That
thought,
stuck with me.
He must have thought you were a promoter.
I don't know what he thought we were doing. We're sitting on two chairs in Clearfield trying to do an interview. And he was like, yeah, like how you smile in there. I know you're full of shit right now or something in the interview. I'm just like, what the hell? I'm just trying to be pleasant, sir, on screen. But, you know, this is why I've got no other TV gigs. But you, of course, Joe Dombrowski, for those who don't know, when you go down the Rolodex of the as long as the 1,001 holds or 4 holds or whatever it is, Joe Dombrowski, international voice of AAA, as well as MLW. And now JCW, apparently.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm glad I prepared you with all those carroids for all your juggalo-ness. We'll get into that in that experience, because I'm sure it was an experience.
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely.
And I think your voice got to attach some pretty high-level memes over the last couple weeks as well.
High level, high energy.
Man, high voltage, if you will.
Highly illegal.
Highly illegal, highly questionable. Oh, it must be the Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Oh, you're not even at the gathering. Oh my God.
That's your dream. One day you and I will walk the gathering, not hallways because it's outdoors. but we're gonna
The outdoor hallways of
The parking lot of
Yeah.
that area.
the unkept field of the gravel hallways of the gathering of the Juggalos. Oh shit. Anyways, this is a wrestling man. No, I already did that part. Let's get into some of the wrestling stuff of the week. We talked about it a little bit. There was an AEW pay-per-view this past weekend. Riz, you watched good bits of it. We watched some of it here at the studio. There's actually 2 matches that were very, very good that we were watching.
Yes.
But we were definitely in studio. Somebody revealed to us that they are currently watching this entire Star Wars universe because they've only watched the trilogy and Phantom Menace up until now. So we kind of went into a guidance session for a while there for a couple matches. So I might want to go back and rewatch them. But anyways, very good. Highlight for me had to have been Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. Riz.
Yes.
Mhm.
100%. 100%. That was the match of the night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perfectly done. Like the only bad thing about that was that I think it was that match where they did the tombstone off of that,
Mm-hmm.
off the stage and onto the
On the steps, you mean?
Yeah, on the steps. Was
Yeah,
that was that
off
that
the ring
match?
onto
Yeah.
the steps. Yeah.
Like that. That was scary,
Mm-hmm.
and like I give them props for doing that. Just know that I was curled up a little bit. Like I was scared.
I have a kind of a, Joe, we might have talked about. I kind of talk about a lot of like I will get squeamish, but I won't internally believe something until I see somebody's actually hurt, kind of thing. Like I have trust that they know what the fuck they're doing when they do something that looks like absolute murder. And that looks like a terrible thing to do to your neck.
Right, and I get that.
I don't know the science of how it works, but like I it's insane for sure, and everything like that. But man, some of those you're just like, I don't understand how.
Well, I mean, I think that's the magic of it in some ways, is right.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're in the moment, you don't know.
Yeah.
And in the moment, I don't want to know. You know?
Yeah.
The more out of control it looks, the more dangerous it looks, the more reckless it looks, the more we as a people are entertained. It's like, you're not going to turn away when you're passing a car crash on the highway. Of course, I don't want to see anybody get seriously hurt. I don't want to see anybody lose their livelihood. I don't want to see anybody sit at home for a period of weeks or months. But it's that living on the end of a lightning bolt, as Dusty would say, right? It's that danger factor that keeps you coming back, because you think you know, and maybe you hope you know, but you're never 100% sure.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. And I feel like some of the moves that look the nastiest sometimes are the safest too.
Sure.
Like, so somebody explained to me that, like, not all of them obviously, but some of the ones you see on a regular basis, that's why you see them a lot, probably because they're just part of the repertoire, right? But yeah, I think that's a classic. And I think we have a lot of guys in AEW that are of that style, and that I hate to use the term breakneck pace, but that's kind of, and that's what they're known for, and that's why they're trying to differentiate themselves at this point. So no, it was an incredible show.
But still, that was a 5-star match.
Absolutely, and this
100%.
is another show that had Ricochet and Takeshita on it. Another great match that they were telling a lot of really interesting stories with Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy. This
only, again, I kind of, the ending of that main event, that the whole cluster.
Everybody has to get their shit in
Everybody got
event.
this shit. Everybody got
like
their shit in.
Raw Attitude Era little car crash ending that we did, which I actually honestly loved it, because I did not. If you expected Orange Cassidy to just walk out of there with the championship, with this storyline that's been going like a month at this point, like one-ish pay-per-view or so has been building. You're building. You don't just beat the NWO at the next pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like that, and I feel like that's what we're building right now. Is
right? They're building their own bloodline.
Yeah, they're building an NWO style threat, and you need to carry that through. And we're kind of at the we don't trust Sting phase of that story, I think, if that translates. Yeah, Joe, that feels, maybe we're pre-Sting. Maybe we're...
it all depends on where the end game is, right?
Man, I can't wait for Crow Orange Cassidy.
What they've done with Orange Cassidy is so great, though, because you've established him so well as being this lethargic, lazy kind of... millennial slacker type of thing.
But he steps up sometimes.
And he steps up. And a lot of people don't get Orange Cassidy. But when I worked with him in Portland right before AEW, he summed it up for me perfectly when he said Orange Cassidy is a guy who's obsessed with winning, but he hates pro wrestling. So when you put that into context, there becomes a bit of sense of understanding and relatability to a lot of younger people out there that maybe some of the older folks don't understand. So when Orange Cassidy gets that blood boiling and fires up and says, no, this place means something to me, like, you feel it, and it means something to you because nothing else got this out of him in the past 4 or 5 years, but this does. This tells me this is important. This tells me I need to keep watching. And the other thing that's great is that entire time, in the background, you got Darby Allin, and you got Darby doing the car crash thing, and Darby rappelling from the ceiling, and
who's literally doing this thing? Oh my God, he is!
There
you go, and with reason, because he was mentored by Sting.
Yeah,
so it ties together. But
it's like, I know this game plan.
Yeah, to me, Darby's your guy.
Yeah,
Darby is the one that's going to wear this company on his sleeve, because you know from his promos, from his interviews, from just the way he carries himself, Darby would die for this company. Darby would give everything he has for this company. The only reason he is a national television star is AEW because the other place would have never let him be himself authentically.
He literally came from his car,
Yeah.
And no home to a signed contract and on television.
So,
yeah.
but the passion that he exudes is the perfect guy you want on the front lines in that fight. And Darby and Moxley, it's your money match. Ever since, Darby lost his title shot earlier this year for Grand Slam, now we're watching that ascent back, and the fact that he will crash his car, jump off the sun, whatever he's willing to do to get there. And it's a beautiful thing, because I think the one big reason the NWO faltered is after a while, nobody was as cool as the NWO, except for maybe Sting. And you had some limitations there. But as cool as Mox is and as laid back and like dangerous as he is, Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, there's so many people that kind of fit that same vibe that can take that to him and take that to the group. And I don't think we've seen the last of Bryan Danielson in the story either. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and I think we're still simmering, to your point about where we are in the timeline. Maybe we're not at Do We Trust Sting yet? Maybe, maybe we just saw who the third guy is and we're building steam. But I think we got a lot more legs to this, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes.
And it was a car crash. It was, those who don't know,
It was
from
an
the
actual head-on car crash.
It was it led to a
literally.
car crash, but it was like everybody was involved. Post match, Christian comes out and tries to cash in. Hangman kind of comes out and spoils him. Then Jay White came out because he's yelling Pac because he's still mad at Pac, and both limping from their match, Hangman and Jay White, right? And then into God, did anybody else come out before they left? And was there anybody else that I missed there? So they just set up like 3 different storylines there out of the end of that show. What's that? Claudio and
I think Claudio attacked Jay White.
Okay, Claudio attacked Jay White. Yes, and please. And then we had the little car wreck, steal a valet car, get out of there stuff. Confirmed, yes, Darby was driving that car. Because fucking of course.
I bet he didn't even put a seatbelt on.
I bet he didn't.
He was texting while driving.
And says, Tony, do I go yet? Tony, is it time? Tony, you want to get a sandwich
the car's
after
coming
this?
really close to. It's like, please, Tony, can I stop now? No, okay.
Tony.
He was actually driving with his feet just to see if he could do it.
Yeah. We'll get the camera later, just like we got the CM Punk footage a year later from Survivor Series. We're gonna get the Darby No Hands video coming out here soon. Turns out there was a GoPro in the car because, of course, he's a skateboarder. Where's that? Where's that angle? That's the GTV I want to see.
Starts playing Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he is buddies with Tony Hawk. So if we can pull some of that Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack out, I'm here for it. Also from the AEW pay-per-view, there was a very divisive, but I would say a generally positive situation. Yeah, they kept saying, here was my thing. I was sitting there, watched most of the pre-show, and it's like, listen, if you're going to bring somebody in from outside of wrestling, I feel like you can't just be like, and here this guy is, because I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. You know what I mean? Like, usually it's like, hey, here's so-and-so from USA Network something, and you got a little fucking timer thing, and you're telling me the Costco guys, and obviously this is a TikTok thing. I was like, you need to primer me and not just drop this on a random rampage, like a weigh-in or something like that. It's like, I understand that crowd is showing up, but don't make us feel like we're out of the loop, please. Listen, some of us olds who are on TikTok but not in the same vein, like we have it. It's just like there's 1,000 channels. There's 1 million verticals in social media, and there's no way I'm going to know everything that's fucking going on. You go to a VidCon where the YouTube stars all collect, and you probably don't watch any of them. No. But there will be 100,000 people for that one person. It's crazy, right? So, and then of course, right before it, they did show a primer of what exactly. I was literally pulling up the video and watching the main video. I'm a Costco guy, of course. I'm such and such eating chicken on a stick or wherever the hell that was. And
It's a chicken.
I'm
baked
halfway
sword.
through the video, and they started playing it on the TV right before the match. I'm like, oh shit, okay. What was his name? Big Justice was a part of that, and apparently is a 20-year wrestler who's wrestled around here. Joe, I found out. I pulled up his cage match.
Okay.
He wrestled in like 2002 in Punxsutawney for, it looks like, a joint show for APWF and NWA East.
Okay.
/ NWA. All three logos
come
were on it.
back.
It was crazy. Yeah, I know. We can come back. I actually messaged one of the promoters that says, "Hey, did you know this guy on TV right now has some history with your company?" You know, so. But
You can come back, and I can see the Rizzler, and throw him out the building.
yes. Anyway, either way, brought a lot of attention, as half of the people sitting here were like, I don't know who the hell this guy is. This is a crazy, this is stupid. Watching Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever, going, this is stupid. And I was like, that entire arena, 10,000 people know who the fuck this guy is and probably bought a ticket for him. It works, and he's relatively local. He's a 20-year vet. Apparently he has not wrestled much in the last 15 years. But
he had enough know-how to get through it.
he did, with a broken foot, apparently.
Yeah, what a worker. Not embarrass himself, not embarrass the business. And bottom line is you and I can have our opinions on it because we're not the target audience.
No.
Honestly, because we're already there. QT Marshall is such a great foil for something like that. QT gets it on such a level that the internet will never understand.
Yep.
But he gets it, and anytime he gets a moment in the sun, whether it's here, whether it's his AAA run last year, whatever the case is, I'm all for it. But there's always been a history of using celebrities, and sometimes celebrities on the fringe. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people who don't watch football and didn't care that Kevin Green was on WCW or. Whatever the case is, all the way back to Mr. T and Cyndi Lauper, and
or as Chandler was pointing out, that Vanessa Hudgens from High School Musical was on Raw last night, apparently.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
And I bet she didn't even have a broken foot, so I'm not even that impressed by her. But the fact is that there's no such thing as mainstream America anymore, right? All entertainment, all media is so segmented.
Yeah.
So you have to find a way to cross-promote. You have to find a way to get eyeballs on you. And you don't have to like a TikTok celebrity or an Instagram influencer, but you can't take away the reach they have and the value that they bring with their built-in audience. And it's always been about getting people who aren't watching the show to sample it. And if you come for the Rizzler and then you stay for Will Ospreay, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you.
Riz, obviously, we have some brand confusion issues around this match and the bell timekeeper for this. I was concerned about the Rizzler's ability to keep time. I didn't know if the Rizzler was qualified. The Rizzler was also, 8 years old? Or something.
Probably.
I think it had to be a digital watch. It couldn't be like a wall clock. You can't read those.
Exactly.
No, not yet.
So we did. Riz, this has been going crazy. Every time I try to plug in your name on social media, I end up getting Nyla Rose because she's like the Rizinator or something.
Yep.
So I decided.
Nyla's. I was going to point out, Nyla, you're able to use my name.
I'm not going to argue with Nyla. No. But we did put out a statement this week because I thought it was necessary. We're kind of seeing what's going on out there, and
do we know anybody who can make this official?
Make what official?
The statement, sort of.
The statement is official. It says official for immediate release. That means it's official, and the headline is literally the Riz officially declared the original Riz, which is true.
It's very true.
And we have a completely official sounding that was not made on ChatGPT.
Not at all. Don't bother the.
We narrowed it down.
Borders. It's fine.
It says, the Wrestling Mayhem show has been my proving ground. My home turf, said the Riz. Completely real quote. For over a decade, I've been delivering top tier content, blazing trails, and letting everyone know what it truly means to be the Riz. It's time the world recognizes what I've known all along. There you go. And so now with the rebranding, Not only a tribute to his storied history, but a bold move to cement his iconic status for the future. With your expect your same cutting edge insights and hilarity we've come to expect and love. So now you are now the original Riz, or as an alternative, the original recipe Riz.
Okay, so I don't like all of that, like,
Praise? You don't like all the praise, Riz?
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, I mean, I like that though. I like that the logo there for you, Sorg.
Okay.
I do like how we tried extra Crisby at one point.
Yeah, that got weird.
It got weird. It looked like Crazy Steve was coming to town, and I didn't want it. Like, he's like, it was weird. But look, I know, like, for the past 2 years now.
You've seen this coming. You've seen this coming. Co-opted.
The name Riz was thrown around on the TikToks and on social media and all of that. I knew that was coming. Now I have to deal with a tiny kid in a Black Panther suit that is now called the Rizzler.
I missed the Black Panther suit. Was that part of the TikTok thing? Like they didn't come out, right? They had their own merchandise.
Here I'll explain.
Yeah, no. Oh no.
There
now the new segment called "The Original Riz Explains TikTok Trends to the Rest of Us." Because
this was actually mentioned in like a podcast with the Costco people.
Okay. Costco guys. I think
Costco guys.
TM. I believe they have to say it that way.
Trademark.
Yes.
So this was before Rizzler was in the Costco guys.
Okay.
So they were watching a video of him dressed in a Black Panther suit with mask on and everything, turning around and saying like something to the effect of like Black Panther doesn't need to climb.
Okay.
And that's how they found out that he was there. And and apparently they reached out to him, and so pretty much what AJ and Big Justice did was they used their talents to influence the Rizzler. So pretty much they were the NWO and the Outsiders. They were Hulk Hogan and the Outsiders to the Rizzler Big Show.
Okay.
And they like took him and made sure that he doesn't go against them.
By the way, every relationship for the rest of this episode needs to be boiled down to NWO references from here on. Like this is like, I think we've kind of established this, right? So,
it does.
Okay. Anyways, well, it's out there. It's in the world. Riz, you had a phenomenal response from the Mayhem Nation about this.
I did. Except for one.
One? Who?
Except for
was
one
it Chachi?
person. No. Except for one person that, if I can get this going here, hang on one second. He apparently doesn't like, or just decided to call me by my first name. And now that's going to be up there.
All right, Bradley.
That's there.
All right, Bradley.
Yeah, Bradley.
You brought this upon yourself. If you can't
tell
by the fuzziness of the picture, Joe, that is Bradley receiving a full-on wedgie live on the internet as we stream this show from
and not behind an extra paywall too. So
no. We give that out for free. Sometimes, that's something else. Sometimes Riz just pulls that up in the middle of business meetings and just says, "Listen, if we don't strike this deal, this is what's going to happen to you.
This is what's happening.
I know this guy, and we used to know this guy.
Bradley, if you don't call me that name, if you call me my name, this goes down."
Or up, as it may be. Anyway, speaking of people, speaking of Bradley and friends over at that support us, and for some reason at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. That's a big sell. Thank you everybody that does support the show actually over there, and we do we go live a little bit early for you guys over on Patreon, and of course if you stick with us over there, you'll see when we go to break and whatever we get into behind all the graphics and videos we're playing for the live crowd out there in the Publix, and of course any post-show discussion that we have will be a part of that feed as well. And then you do get the Patreon pastry. The Patreon pastry. Ooh, that could be something.
I mean, Thanksgiving is coming up.
Thanksgiving is just 2 days away here. But anyways, thank you to everybody that does support the show. Our friends at the Fan of the Show level, Bo Diggity! Woo! As well as Team Hammer Fist, the Tupac family, Bubba Brewer of the Triple B Podcast and APWF, Jason French at the Poppy Club level, Dave Profile Bonner, Rats in a Trench Coat, Tony Kincaid, Matt True Prince Pro, who I will give a shout out because they did a fun video that I showed by accident earlier, previewing actually the 880 wrestling show at Penn Brewery here on Wednesday night. So Matt has been amazing putting gifts out now on Blue Sky, so please follow that, and I'm glad to see there's more wrestling content, especially representing local area wrestling here that we work with is becoming a part of that, and Matt's spearheading that, if you will. Thank you also to the rest of our crew at the Pizza level, the Riz, boink, there you go, and as you can see in that wonderful picture, our manager, Bradley. You guys support the show too at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. He's still pointing. He's still pointing at him. Oh my gosh. Joe, were you booping? What are you doing?
Yes, I am.
What is happening? Joe.
Again, I got to take this down so it doesn't look like...
so you don't forget about it when you do your business meeting tomorrow.
That, and it doesn't look like anything.
Or
like,
family Zoom or something.
In the way.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. Oh my God. Joe, how are you doing over there?
Good luck segueing off of that.
I mean, I've seen the stuff that you were working on the last couple of weeks. I'm sure you're fine.
I feel great. I feel a lot better than Bradley did when that screenshot got taken.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Let's talk a little bit. I want to talk about physical media with you in a little bit, but let's talk about what the hell have you been up to?
What haven't I been up to?
We were talking about, what did you say? You were home 30 hours in 12 days
30 hours
or something
30
like
hours
that?
and 12 days from whatever it was, October 21st to November 3rd, something like that.
So you got attached to, as referee George Ross last week, and we are actually scheduled to have Facade and Neon Ninja on next week to talk about this as well. You all somehow got attached to the JCW, lead up to Hallowicked tour that went down, which was
the Train of Terror tour.
The Train of Terror tour. And man, did I get some FOMO that all my friends were working the shows that I wanted to be at. But and obviously, I don't think you would experience much juggalo-ness other than what I have brought to our car trips.
Sure.
All right. And you got touched for a good portion of this. I know some of the NWA guys were a part of this, first on and stuff, which was interesting. And they were on YouTube for a while, leading to some Triller pay-per-views and things like that. Why? Why you?
Why me?
Why you?
Why not me?
Why did?
Why
is this my fault somehow? I feel like this is my fault.
Most things are.
Okay.
But, I met Violent J in Atlanta.
Okay.
For MLW Battle Riot.
Okay.
Because he was one of the 40 men entered in that match.
Oh, jeez.
And
God, he's been everywhere lately.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So this is back in June, and you know how I do before broadcast. I always make sure to talk to the talent.
Yeah.
So obviously I knew who Violent J was. Obviously I knew ICP. I knew a very general version of kind of their career and their discography and their time in wrestling.
The stuff I made you listen to in the car.
Yeah, but I want to always have a repartee with the talent. So it didn't take me 15 seconds talking to Violent J before his passion for this business really bled through, and just what an honor it was for him to be there, and like how much it meant to him that him and Shaggy have been in every major promotion except for one at this point. And that's, you know, an untouched resume from somebody from their world, almost untouched from anyone from our world. You know, that's how crazy that is. But, you know, so I appreciated that passion from him and how happy he was to be there. And he appreciated the passion from me and that attention to detail and the fact that I gave a crap enough to actually speak to him and prepare. So that started the relationship, and we had talked. By the end of the night, he was telling me he wanted me on JCW, and took us a few months to get it done. We had a false start here and there, but the scheduling worked out. I got a call from a mutual friend. God, it had to have been 2 weeks before the tour. Of you know, hey, what are you doing on all of these days? And you know, I did have you know, one booking I had to cancel to be able to do the whole tour because the travel just wouldn't have worked out. But you know, I started in Pittsburgh and then made my way to Detroit to meet the Van Caravan, and then
to join the train, if you will.
Choo choo. And then down to Nashville to officially start the tour. And then I think it was from Nashville to Birmingham, Alabama, then to Little Rock, Arkansas, and then Columbia, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, down to Joliet, Illinois, and then across for 2 days in Detroit. And that was the Triller special and the Hallowicked matinee card. And it was really cool for me because I only had to work 90 minutes a night. And
Really?
for me, doing these 3, 4, 5 hour marathon shows sometimes and these long TV tapes, these long Triple Manias, and don't get me wrong, I love them all or I wouldn't do them.
It was a different animal.
But they're so emotionally exhausting. It's like I can be done at 8:30, you know, or 9:30, whatever time zone I'm in, and, you know, be back at the hotel. And the crowds are amazing. Like if you aren't familiar with Juggalo culture, you wouldn't like this. Feels like it shouldn't work, right? You have this like underground rock show, and you have pro wrestling. Like you're gonna split the audience.
Usually,
right?
it's awkward as hell. Usually, when you see like an indie do it, it's, I cannot recall one where half the audience cared about the band that was there. Yeah,
or vice versa. If like a touring outfit wants to bring in wrestling to wrestle in the parking lot or something, people just kind of, oh, look, that's weird, and then they move on. But no, they were into everything. I mean, they hate poor Kerry Morton's guts. I mean, that kid's lucky he got out of half those places alive. And Silas Mason, who it was Terry Gordy in Iron Claw, and he might as well be Terry Gordy now because he moves so well, and I
love Silas.
He is such a caricature. But they hated him, and they hated Briar Wellington, and they love Willie Mack, and they love your Mac Crosses, and they love, you know, the Neon Blondes. They're so invested in everything, and they're not a crowd that's watches wrestling every week, so they're not burnt out on everything. So a lot of the little things gets them, you know, seeing 7-foot-tall Baba Thunder, who, you know, unfortunately, you know, you may remember him as Commander Aziz or Dabakato or whatever, but to see him in his element doing his thing, that's cool.
Oh my God! He did look familiar in that clip. Okay,
to see the Amazing Graysons do the new back seats, and Graysons worked for me in 2017. Welterweight Wrestling, they were there. So to go full circle, and now they are mentored by Johnny Kashmere, and they're carrying on that Johnny and Trent spirit, you know, and that attitude and that vibe and the silver pants and the double team moves, and to see them excel. And I always thought they were so talented when they were young kids, but there was just something missing, right? They were just guys. But now, with kind of the boy band entrance and kind of that like, you know, the boy band motif of like Tommy's the cute one and like JP's the bad boy and like Cashmere's the mentor. Like everybody's got a role, right? And then, you know, to see them work with Bang and Matthews, so I think the World Ever is an upcoming team in the Midwest. It just works, and it's timed well, it's paced well, to where moves, you know, and you get in and you get out and you give them just enough. And there's nobody on that card that's like anybody else. You know, everything's different. Everyone's different. And I think what Jay appreciates and what Jay wants to do, he doesn't want JCW to be, oh, that's that clown bullshit. That's just ICP, whatever. Like he's not trying to do Stranglemania. He's trying to get JCW the respect in the wrestling community that, quite frankly, I think it deserves. You know, and is it rough around the edges? Yeah. Are there some things said and done that maybe all parts of the audience won't appreciate? Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of areas of wrestling are like that now. Jay wants the wrestling community to embrace JCW just as Jay has embraced the wrestling community. And one step of that, maybe a small step of that, is having someone like me there to be that voice and to string that continuity together. And, well, if you remember back when we streamed Lunacy 3 weeks ago, this happened, this happened, this happened, and that detail and pushing the Triller relationship and pushing the social platforms and just being, for lack of a better term, the straight man in a very wacky world, you know, and I love the fact that they put me with Zach Amico, who he's a comedian. He painted up every night. He wore these just extremely colorful garbs.
I'm not familiar, and I saw one picture of you with him, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know the deal.
But he had some great one-liners. He had some great zingers. He had me kind of, you know, trying to stifle my laughs under my breath. But, like, I want that, or like Manny Fresh was with us on the Hallow Wicked broadcast. Like, I want that to be the voice of the Juggalo Nation. I want that to be the voice of you know, that type of community. And for me to be there as kind of a bridge to tell wrestling fans it's okay to come on over because you're going to find something that you like. So even though, again, on the surface, doesn't feel like it's my cup of tea, and you know. Were there things there that I wouldn't have done if I was running a show? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's okay because Jay knows his audience. And I think the important thing is twofold, okay? It's reaching those wrestling fans that maybe have a perception about it unfairly, and it's also making sure you're true to your roots because you don't want to be, and especially in music, you don't want to be looked at as, oh, you're a sellout and you went mainstream and you went corporate. And that's not what they're trying to do. It's not that we are allowed to curse. We are encouraged to curse.
Much like this is the podcast where I allow myself to say fuck. This is the wrestling promotion where we allow ourselves to do this. Yeah, like that is the one of the things that sets us apart, and that's okay.
I think if I didn't start cursing, Jay might have fined me. I mean, that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
But it's the ability to have fun with it, you know, and I was, you know, in my head, I took that as a challenge. Okay, I don't normally use that kind of colorful language. I leave that to the talent because I think, you know, it means more that way. But if that's what you want in your presentation, okay, well, how do I use it sparingly, but in ways that mean something?
Yeah.
Not just to say, like, hey, what the F's up, welcome to the show, but how do I put that attached to moments that'll make it mean more? Yeah. So I still took that as a challenge and one that I was glad to embrace. And if that's what the boss wants, it's what the boss gets. But I think Jay and I were very, very pleased with each other after that tour, and we both want to do more. So I'm officially down with the clowns. And
I love it. I love that. I love what you're saying about like the accessibility of it because it's definitely been, you know, maybe because like I've seen it over the last couple of decades, pretty much at the gathering where the audience is the audience, right? Is literally the audience, and so like it felt inaccessible because it's like these are all the inside jokes of people that listen to this music, right? Like, and nobody else is going to appreciate this. And I love that it is, I don't want to say softened, but it's that accessibility, right?
Yeah, it hasn't softened. It's broadened.
Yeah, it's broadened. Yeah, evolved, if you will.
Because I mean, my roommate most nights was Simon Gotch. Simon Gotch is not a juggalo, as far as I know. Maybe he is when nobody's looking. I don't know. But he doesn't fit that motif either.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
But it works because there's nobody else in the show like him. So we can talk about how he's a technical machine and he's a suplex master and all this type of stuff. But yeah, I think again, like it's not like JCW back in the day where like, okay, one of the guys is dead and one of the guys is a parody of somebody else you see on another show. It's not.
I did see a promo where I think they pulled Evil Dead out of the trunk of a car, though. I'm glad to see Evil Dead is still a thing. By the way.
Yeah, but and that's fine for like a comedy or a punchline or for a nice little wink to the longtime fans. But that's not what the main sales pitch is. The main sales pitch is pro wrestling, just like it is anywhere else. And I would venture as far as to say to do it in these packed, standing room only, underground rock clubs is a hell of a lot cooler than 30 people in a VFW somewhere.
Yes.
And I did say that they don't do parodies of other people, which is not entirely accurate because of the one moment that we're going to talk about. I'll let you take the reins.
I mean, the match you didn't know you wanted, because I couldn't believe the other guy was on here too. One, first I'm going to tell you, Soul Taker is part of this clip that was going around.
Once upon a time, I couldn't say the name of that.
Yeah,
match.
right. And then and against Cocaine. So there's been a lot of colored canes going around here, and this was the oh god, he's just taking.
By the way, everybody that's like all the video providers, that is sugar. That is probably not what you think
obviously
it is.
Sugar. Oh, we're not getting on TikTok with this one. But yeah, so Soul Taker and Cocaine, and this became a viral sensation, even at one point pissing off a certain Rhodes brother in commentary. Yeah. So it's like this is the kind of this is the wrestling is fun crowd.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like I don't think anybody involved with that segment or that broadcast or involved as a fan that watched it and enjoyed it should be surprised that a Dustin Rhodes would say something or a Jonathan Coachman would say something, and they're well within their right to.
Coachman.
Yeah, but here's the thing: nobody responsible for that segment put it out there because they thought it would unite the country and solve world hunger. That wasn't the point. Obviously, it's there to get people talking. It's there to piss people off. It's there to stir up emotions, whether you're going to laugh at it or be angry at it. So, not to go all Eric Bischoff on you, but controversy creates cash. And the thing with Cocaine that a lot of people missed, unless you were watching the Train of Territory, is that there was a 9-day-long thread that got us to Cocaine, because the first night of the tour, we saw the debut of Pink Cane. And Pink Cane wrestled for a few days, and then, as the story goes, there may have been a cease and desist from a certain company in Connecticut, and that begets Yellow Cane, who debuts later that night. And now we got Yellow Cane, who works for a few nights. And then, Yellow Cane got popped on the C&D. He won't be on the Triller show. And then, but what do we have, lo and behold? That's got to be Cocaine. And yes, I did the Vince line almost every night of that tour. That's got to be for the introduction. But that's fun. Listen, I'm not here to argue a legal trademark.
It's parody.
Parameters.
It's parody.
I'm just here to say I had fun calling it. I had fun having my voice on it. If you don't like it, if it's not for you, cool, fair game.
Welcome to the Juggalo culture.
but
it's not for everybody.
But at the same time, that audience loved it, and Violent J knows his audience. Was there harm done? I don't think there was. Nobody's kicking Glenn Jacobs out of Knox County. No one is calling for ICP to flee the country. No one, it's going to be okay, guys. There's more problems out there in the world. But yeah, I had fun doing it. Again, would it have been something I would have put on a broadcast? No. But here's what you got. You got a Cocaine match. All right, sign me up. I'm on board. Let's see what this is and what this does. And obviously, I mean, to Costco guys level saturation on the internet. We didn't even have to write a song about it. But yeah,
I love it.
It's fun.
I love that you're part of this world now.
Whoop,
this
whoop.
is great. This is great.
It's like just it's like you were drawn to it from another area, right? Like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like this shaped, a little bit a magnet.
Fuck you,
Oh.
Riz. Fuck you, Riz.
Hey, I had to get one. I had to get one.
Oh my
okay.
God, you were doing so
I had
good.
to get
See,
one.
I thought he was going the way of a cocaine reference and say I was chasing the dragon.
That's. I don't know how Riz is on drug references.
No.
Well, I'm glad to hear about your travels. I'm glad that you've had this experience.
First of many.
Yes, I want to talk physical media with you, but first give a shout for IndyWrestling.us. A lot of stuff going on, including is audio. There we go. Well, that's weird how it's in the middle, but that's okay.
Move to the side. There you are, Sorg.
Here is tomorrow night live on IndyWrestling.us.
Not up there.
Wrestling. We're not gonna be outside though. We're gonna be in the ballroom, but it's still gonna look pretty cool. Somebody's gonna take video like this. That's gonna look really, really cool. We're just gonna do a classic live stream ourselves. But no, a lot of fun there. Penn Brewery's been a great partner. It's still in front of my face. And
the other side.
For 880 Wrestling and everything. So that's really fun. I'm looking forward to that. And also give a shout out to our friends. We're not going to be live streaming. We're doing live to tape for our friends for Big League Pro. That's going to feature, I believe, it's an NWA Exodus or NWA Midwest Championship match between Pretty Boy Smooth defending against Donovan Dijak, which is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see that one. So a lot of fun stuff going on there. And we do have physical media. I don't know. I put a picture out of all the DVDs we sent out. We had to catch up over probably a month of orders. But so we do have DVDs for about every title there, include our friends at Neo Pro Wrestling who have just had a couple of shows that'll be coming up online and on DVD very shortly. So go check that out. Support some independent wrestling. Joe Dombrowski, physical media. You have been on a campaign that I don't think I've seen on social media pushed as hard as since the main event. We're pushing for to book more tag team matches. You cowards! Have you added you cowards to your keep physical media alive?
I have not, because I want to draw in all types of fans.
Okay.
Even if you're a coward, I still welcome your business.
What's going to be the Juggalo version of this promotion?
The Juggalo version of this promotion.
Fago.
I don't want to say it. There'll be profanity in it.
You're allowed to on this show.
Yeah, but you're not.
It's not going to be the leading line, but I'm not threatening you.
No, yeah, it's gonna be like you're throwing Fago out, doing the Fago Armageddon, only you're throwing DVDs at people.
Ouch.
Yeah, duck and cover.
Well, also with the Fago, ouch. Actually, sometimes they don't flip the cap off the entire way, and you just get a full Fago at your head. So I have a friend that he just got spiked in the front row one time.
And you want me to go to this, Sorg?
Well, we're not going to put you in that part of the danger. He was also flipping off Shaggy for some reason, so weird thing for a fan to do. But anyways, no, but I mean, you've been, I don't know how many DVDs I've authored for you over the years and everything. You still push it, and I'm like, Joe, there's this thing called the internet. You don't have to think as much stuff. And then this is an argument we have on our side too. But like, should we still doing it? Is there enough people buying them? Things like that. But you've been on a really big, like I said, a really big campaign with things lately about this.
Well, what I realized is it depends on the audience. It depends on the product.
Sure.
When I first did Montreal Theory with you in 2013, which, if you're new to the dance, that was
a wild time.
That we were so young and we were so carefree.
Somebody messaged, I don't want anybody talking about the Montreal Screwjob with Survivor Series coming up this year in Canada. And I wanted to respond,
Whoops.
Well, you can go watch the Montreal Theory over at IndyWrestling.
There you go. That's perfect. But basically, to those that have never heard of it, it's a reimagining of the Montreal Screwjob. If Vince and Brett were in on it, how would that have worked? What would that have consisted of? What does that mean? How likely is it? But when I put that out in 2013 with you, that was on a whim and a prayer. That was me believing in an idea and thinking to myself, man, someone should make like a full-length DVD out of this. Wait a minute, I can make a full-length DVD out of this. Because I'd already dabbled in shipping and duplication and things like that with all the PWO stuff when I took over their merch. If that had failed, And the world had told me that's flop. You're not creative. Go back in your cave. Go in a hole and just rot. None of this else would be happening. But the fact that I've been able to continually find where that audience is and figure out what they're interested in brings that value to me. And to your point, I mean, obviously DVDs are nowhere near what they were before in terms of saturation, in terms of market share, in terms of anything. And my DVD sales dropped year over year, probably every year from 2013 up until 2021. And my digital sales increased. But the big thing that changed that is when we did the Brian Pillman Memorial Show Anthology. And to those that don't know, when Brian passed, Les Thatcher in Cincinnati did 4 different fundraisers for Brian's family that involved, it was the only event filmed that involved talent from WWF, WCW, and ECW at the height of the Monday Night War. And those shows had been mythical, right? You'd always heard about them, and you'd never seen them unless you were lucky enough to see, like, Chris Benoit versus William Regal, something like that. But you never see the full events. I was able to bridge the gap between Les Thatcher and the Pillman family to get them together and get the rights straight to get an official release of this for the first time, and sales skyrocketed. I was moving 40 or 50 units a day for a period of weeks at $35 a pop when you include shipping. So you can imagine the dollars that are circling through, right? So all of this helps me realize that, okay, I couldn't, if I'm at a show and a 10-year-old comes up to me, I don't know how to sell them a DVD of Bluey or something. Like, I don't know how to do that because they don't even know what the hell it is. But if there's somebody my age or a little older or a little younger, and it's something they grew up watching and it's something they grew up appreciating or always wanting to see or curious about, that's the sweet spot right now. And what really helped is last year I started building partnerships and relationships with a lot of content owners. And it started with the Miro Savoldi Wrestling Network, Savmar Media, ClassicWrestling.net, who own a lot of the Dallas footage and Global Wrestling Federation and a lot of stuff you see out there in the wild that is not owned by a billionaire, right? And that opened the door to Todd Okerlund, Gene's son, who's got pieces of Detroit and the Pafo territory and the Herb Abrams UWF. And just through that, it's, hey, we should reach out to Herb Simmons, who owns St. Louis. And the owner of Kansas City isn't alive anymore, but Harley Race's son, Justin Race, is here. Let's talk to him. And Rock Parsons at the Wrestling Legends Network works with Dono and Son, and build up this big spider's web of just interconnecting content. And so many of these places are online, and they are streaming. But in my opinion, people my age or the average person that wants that type of footage isn't looking at streaming first to get their entertainment, or at least get this kind of entertainment. To look blind. Maybe you'll be on Netflix. I'm on Netflix. I'm on Peacock. I got more hard drives and thumb drives and flash drives than I ever thought I would. I'm not dogging digital media.
Yeah.
But I think there's a certain level of audience and age of audience and demo of audience that wants something to physically hold, that wants something that feels like a collector's item and not just something you watch and forget about.
And also, you're not at the whim of these. Case in point, something not wrestling. I realized about a year ago, I found for a decent price on Amazon the entire, big fan, the original run of Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
Like 10 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Like 30 DVDs in it. Like, I'm never gonna sit down and watch all these. And then I get Paramount Plus. I was like, oh, the Ninja Turtles on here. I started watching it and realized like it's missing most of it. Right? Like, maybe you don't have that entire thing. Maybe things like, hey, if you got a physical copy of Muppet Babies, you got gold, right? Because that stuff's not getting out anywhere because of the things they did with rights and stuff back then that they were a little looser on that you can't get by with right now.
Exactly.
It's like, you're like, oh, hey, you brought up WWE Network is officially dying with the Netflix deal because it does still exist, for those who don't know, outside of the U.S.
Sure.
Peacock only has U.S. content for WWE. I know you can't tell by watching the programming, but that will now all shift to Netflix. Will all of it go with it? Who knows? Is Hulk Hogan Rock and Wrestling going to go away when Hulk Hogan does something terrible again? Who knows?
And that's going to happen
Yeah.
very likely when the Peacock deal ends in 2026 here domestically.
I think they're all going. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, because people used to ask me, why don't you have the WWE Network? And I would say I've had the WWE Network for years before it existed. It's just in 3 or 4 different bookshelves in my house, because that. If you pay for and anyone that's paid for the WWE Network, again, I don't dog you for it.
Can't beat it for the value. That's for damn sure.
Without a doubt. And everything's convenient. It's in one place. They give you exclusives.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You don't own any of that. You're renting it. So as soon as they take it away, you paid $10 a month in, hundreds and thousands of dollars. Now they take it away. What do you have left?
So I gave a friend of mine, when WWE Network happened, I had all the pay-per-views we taped on VHS from all the years, like boxes of them. I pulled out things that I knew that WWE was not releasing or had edited. Like, say, I had an Eddie Guerrero tribute. I had like the ECW One Night Stands. I knew the music wasn't intact.
Right.
If you want old ECW, watching any old ECWs, sponsorships and graphics have been overlaid. When they started taking away the WWF logos terribly from those shows, and it was so god awful, right? Yeah. Like, there's a lot of reasons to do that. I wish I didn't give those tapes away. I don't know how much they'd work right now, but still.
Sure, you could still attempt to transfer them or whatever the case is. So,
yeah.
But there's so much footage like that out there now that maybe isn't being preserved and isn't even available legally. You have to dig through the scours of the internet. Like, who owns Memphis Wrestling? You know what I mean? Like, I think you own 3 episodes and no one's even told you. Like, that's how messed up the rights are.
Yeah, you explained this to me one day. It's wild.
There's workarounds and there's loopholes that I'm working on to where I can start selling it soon. But like, WWE is never going to officially put that out because it's so muddy. There's certain things that I won't get into details now because it'll spoil some future plans. But certain companies that WWE has bought the libraries for, they haven't bought everything. They bought
a lot.
They bought certain episodes or a number of hours or a certain show. But they didn't buy like the bankruptcy rights to the company to get everything.
Yeah.
So there's stuff out there that if you know where to look. And we've done compilations this year. We've done 1 on Harley Race, 1 on Andre the Giant, 2 on the Von Erichs. And still to come, we've got in the upcoming months, we've got Ric Flair. We've got Eddie Einhorn's IWA, which, if you're unaware, was the first attempt to have a national televised promotion in 1975, backed by Eddie Einhorn, who I think went on to be vice president of the Chicago White Sox, something like that. Whatever the Chicago baseball team was at the time. But he's a very rich man, a businessman, investor. And to experiment a little bit, we're planning on something with the Young Bucks to see if a more modern audience will support it. And all those titles are available digitally as well. ProWrestlingLibrary.com is primarily digital, but the DVDs allow it to travel to a place that digital can't, right? It allows me to have an eBay store, to have a Mercury store, to have to go on the road with these things to the towns and meet these fans who say, man, I remember when my dad saw Andre when he was a kid and he told me this, and this, or man, the Von Erichs, hey, did you see that movie? What did you think of it? And to start these conversations and to rekindle this passion in fans, and they feel like they're getting something special because, looking at things, it's they'll see this lineup and like, wow, I never knew this happened. I never knew, Harley went here and wrestled this guy. I never knew, this upcoming Flair set. We've got a Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat match that I don't know if it was ever televised. It's not from Jim Crockett. It's not from WCW. It's certainly not from WWF. But this stuff's out there, and people don't know because nobody's been able to curate it properly and present it properly in an organized way. And I want to be able to put it out there. I want to be able to save and preserve what's left. Because think about it, too. so much of the TV back in the territory days wasn't saved.
Yeah, big problem with Pittsburgh when we were researching the Pittsburgh stuff.
It got taped over because
Yeah.
videotape was so expensive back then.
Yep.
You'd take the tape, you'd bicycle it to all your towns, and then you'd record over it because nobody saw value in it
And
back then.
there's no value in replays. There was
Yeah.
no value in catalogs at the time because nobody saw that future happening of easy duplication.
I just bought from a collector, I think about 700 hours of Portland wrestling TV. Most of that came from the private collection of the late great Playboy Buddy Rose. So the promoter Don Owen wasn't even saving the shows. One of his talents was recording it off television, and that's the only reason we have it today.
That's wild.
But yeah, like think of all these legends that I've named, and like in 2025 and 26, all things willing, I want to do a Terry Funk set. I want to do a Jerry Lawler set. I want to do a Kevin Sullivan set.
Yeah.
I want to do all this stuff to put this out there because how many people are huge Roddy Piper fans and never saw anything he did in Portland? How many people are
you always hear about it.
How many people are huge Macho Man fans and never saw anything he did in his dad's own promotion?
Yeah.
Or in Memphis, except for maybe people have seen like the cage match with Lawler, stuff like that. It's out there, but I want to be able to package it together in a way that people can feel like they have something tangible, they have something worthwhile, something they can hold on to forever, and a legitimate piece of history. And there's matches we put on here that have never been released. We've dug out and found Japanese TV feeds. We have found torrents. We have found bootlegs. We have found garage sales. We have been looking long and hard at anywhere this footage can be to just bring it back and bring it to where people will appreciate it and love it. And you can see a lot of those great titles there. We just started putting up episodes of Kansas City TV, courtesy of Justin Race. I want to get every single territory. Probably won't get New York, but I want to get every other territory represented in some form or fashion because there's always some bleed over, right? Like I can't touch AWA, but like AWA guys worked in Chicago for Bob Luce. We got Bob Luce footage. Obviously I don't own Jim Crockett, but Flair is the traveling champion. He went everywhere, Florida is owned by Stamford, but there are certain features and projects that were put into place before Mike Graham sold that library that are still out there. So there's so much out there to bring to people, and I want to put it all in one place. I want to put as much of it on DVD as I can if the audience will have it. And wrestlers need it because you can learn so much from watching, back then. People do things that no one does now. You do it now, it'll look brand new. Good. And I think fans deserve to see it because there's a whole world out there, and history's not just written by the winners. History is written by the people that survive, the people that keep putting the work in, right? And the counter, Shane Douglas said this to me the other day, the counter for misinformation is more free speech. So if something's out there, the narrative that you're not digging, what do? You shout it down. There's a whole wrestling world out there that you're not going to hear about in the mainstream companies, and I want to present it to everybody.
There you go. There you go.
Do you feel like? I'm sorry. Do you feel like there's more, like, territorial of these tapes, like there was back in the day, where it's like in New York, or in the Northeast, there's this one group that has all these tapes, like in just pretty much like what it was in the territorial days for wrestling. Do you find like there's just that group of people that hold on to their babies like that, like the footage of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always sentimental value there. I think there's probably gold mines in someone's basement right now we don't know about. There's some old
Schrodinger's basement.
There's some old grandma somewhere that is sitting on every episode of Memphis TV that ever happened, and she's like, I hated that damn Bill Dundee, and she's holding on to that because she doesn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so much as geographic as it used to be, but it definitely is segregated, where there's collectors out there that may have this or that and don't realize that it can be monetized or whatever. Like, I mean,
or have the means or
Yeah.
the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and Herb Simmons in St. Louis, he got the St. Louis library from Larry Matisick when Larry passed. He was the old St. Louis announcer, and Larry got it from Sam Mushnick, the legendary promoter there. So there's this trail that goes down, but Herb wasn't really doing a lot of it outside of like his own podcast and his own like St. Louis Hall of Fame, his wrestling club down there. He runs a great promotion down there, and he's very active in Cauliflower Alley. But like he's not that type that is really in tune to what the possibilities are in 2024 with DVD, what the vastness is of the digital scape. But you know, and I'm thankful to say, like, thanks to what we've been doing, like Herb gets, you know, I'm not paying for a condo for him or anything, but he gets small payments every month as a result of this, and so do the Savoldis, and so does Kevin Kleinrock and Les Thatcher, and so many people that I work with. And if there's something out there, I want to see it. If it's not available anywhere else, I mean, I'm a big fan of lost footage. If I can get rights, I will sell it. If I can't get rights, and I think it's lost and dead and buried, I might put it on my YouTube. I mean, we just found not we, but like the human race just found a George Hackenschmidt match. You saw that, right? On Twitter from 1908. Boggles the mind. You know, who knows what else is out there? If we can watch wrestling from 1908,
It's crazy.
and even back then, you could see they put all the fans on the hard cam side. They knew even back then.
With the hard cam, brother. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just to watch Andre the Giant in a Hawaii Battle Royal with like Tatsumi Fujinami and Don Morocco,
Love it.
Andre and Bundy, and they're in the WWF at the time, but they go down to Hawaii to work for The Rock's grandmother. Yeah. And so they're doing the Colossal Jostle on NBC, Saturday Night's Main Event, and then a few weeks before or after that, they're doing the 6-man with Kevin Sullivan down in Hawaii. Like, things like that that'll blow people's mind. They don't know what happened.
Love it.
And I love finding that, and I love saying, like, here, like, you enjoy this just as much as I have, because, you know, wrestling is something that should be celebrated, should be loved, and the territory system was so in the weeds that there's no way you could know about everything. And I'm still learning. I'm loving finding things I never knew existed. And I'm just having a blast. I'll tell you what, editing video, and today I voiced Ric Flair versus Bruiser Brody. How about that?
I think I saw the tweet about that.
Yeah. Like, how? Like, when we did the Andre set, I voiced Andre versus Nick Bockwinkel. How's that make sense? Who the hell am I? It's a hell of a lot more fun than running a live show. Tell you that.
Awesome. Well, Joe, it's always great to see what the hell you're working on. I love hearing the stories about how you're finding everything, you know. And ProWrestlingLibrary.com, go check it out. I need to catch up. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's been a while since I've worked on a DVD for you. So
yeah, and there's more to, and there's so much stuff we're doing that's just digital only, like any of the TV episodes, like Wrestling Titans or Kansas City TV.
Yeah,
we just started running the Rock Parsons Classic All Star Wrestling, hosted by his son Adam, who's a great kid. The fun clip I don't even know where it's from. But there's a brawl going on in the ring, and just the canvas is imploded. It's like they're in a waterbed. It's ridiculous. But yeah, just random stuff like that. But yeah, ProWrestlingLibrary.com, 500 hours of digital content, and a lot of the heavy hitters are on DVD too. So check it out.
Go check it out. And we have a lot of commentaries from the chat room. We're going to get back to that after this break. We'll be right back.
Ooh.
I'm Eamon.
I'm Merlin.
And we're a gay.
And his NB.
Are you a reality television connoisseur?
Do you like it discussed from an LGBTQ lens?
If so, A Gay and His Envy is the podcast for you.
Hear us break down all your favorite guilty pleasure reality shows from Bravo, Drag Race, and just about everything in between.
Listen to A Gay and His Envy on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We are back, Wrestling Mayhem Show. The original recipe, Riz is here.
It's been a long week.
And the original recipe, Joe Dombrowski. I feel like it's more with your KFC affinity, that feels more appropriate.
I love it, yeah.
I think that's why I thought of that, because I was doing the thing and I was like, how about this too? I think I had you on my mind.
Hey, I'm more enjoyable than all 11 herbs and spices.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's what's on the Grinder profile, right?
It is now.
Jeez. Anyways, you got some comments in the chat room, so I wanted to touch this first. Dave Ponder says, bring back Laserdisc. There you go. I don't even know where we start with something like that.
You know what I've been contemplating, though? I've been contemplating doing
vinyl.
I don't know which. Well, yeah, for my operatic album.
Yeah, there you go.
I've been contemplating putting something on like a limited release VHS, but I don't know what. Just to see what happens. Because TNA did that a couple years ago and they sold out.
Yeah. Oh wow. Wow.
So there might be something there.
If it wouldn't suck to do so long, like maybe the first Brian Pillman show memorial show. I think that would be a nice, like, just do the first one. Right,
because it's the shortest. I like the way you think.
I didn't even realize that, but I should remember when I did the DVD. But no, like seriously, like that one thing, because it's like, oh, you have a VHS of this on your shelf,
or the one thing I remember from just getting into VHS are those like compilations of the weirdest wrestling matches.
Oh, like the unusual matches with like gators and shit I saw on your shelf one time.
Yes.
Let's see. There was the crocodile death match.
Yeah.
There was the piranha death match. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Japan's done some weird shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I bought a tape lot last year just for my personal collection, not for anything to sell. But one of them was just labeled like Wrestling Strangest Moments, and it was just like a homemade label, so I have no idea what's on it. I have no clue.
Probably porn.
At some point, I'm gonna watch it, and even if it's stuff I've already seen,
it's going to scar you.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna scar me in a fun way.
Yeah. Just like going to the Gathering of Juggalos, Riz. I
yes!
told you need to do this.
People don't understand the fun of just picking a tape out of a box and not knowing what the hell's on it and just going on a ride. You
Love
know
it. You should like do a Twitch channel where you do that.
I might, I might. I've also thought about, and this will be a tech conversation we can have off air, but I've also thought about selling on Whatnot. I hear that's a big thing. I learned of Whatnot from the WrestleCon in Dallas because they advertise it a lot.
Oh, okay. It's the first I had heard of it, and I know it's still been kind of. I've seen it pop up on some other promotions I've done. So yeah, but I've never. It's a trading thing, right? It's kind of like its own eBay or something. It's like a live. You can like live sell. Stuff. Yeah. Like it's built for that. So I told you, man, QVC thing. That might be your thing. Hey, I do a mean Don West impression. Exactly, right? We've seen the video, right? If you haven't, go watch the video. It's on Wrestling Mayhem Show. I think we put it on ours. Was it ours or yours? I can't remember what we did.
Well, hey, if you didn't put it on yours, that's on you.
It's
'cause I
somewhere
put it
on the
mine.
internet. It's
Yes.
somewhere on the internet.
Just search our names.
Tina says it's refreshing to have Joe to have you as a bridge. To her, some previous commentators for GCW fell short with that a bit. Again, very inside jokey and stuff, and not really like they weren't announcers. They were just kind of part of the joke.
Yeah, and I think it's a difference between insulating your product and just talking to the people that are already there versus bringing new people in. And anytime I do a broadcast, whether it's MLW, whether it's JCW, whether it's, an independent I've never been before, my job is always to assume somebody's watching for the first time and to make sure they can follow along. That's how you grow your audience, and if you as a viewer think you're smarter than me or think that I'm not, giving the gravitas that I should, then I'm not doing my job. There's no point in me being there. Yeah. And we're all wasting each other's time. So thank you for saying that. I'm glad that I was able to help somebody discover it.
And then Tina in Seattle also, I think she's responding to when we were talking a little bit about Heartland and the memorial shows, the Pillman memorial shows.
Okay.
Was Memories of Home. And I think she's asking, was that particular show at Norwood High School shown? And I know you have 3 volumes of Heartland now. Because I think she did video on some of those, and we've been wondering if you have some of her work in your collection.
I think Norwood High School was one of the Pillman shows.
Yeah.
If I'm
that
correct.
must be it. Yeah, because it's all 4 of them, right?
All 4 of them.
Yeah. Part of that set.
The second year we don't have the full event, but we have all the surviving footage that I know of. Again, until I find that old lady with stuff in her basement, who knows? But yeah, we got all 4 Pillman events and bonus documentary, all kinds of fun stuff. I preserved as much of it as we possibly could and put it out there. So, yeah, it's there for the masses.
I think she's seen when I put it up on screen. But there's an IWA on your site. She's asking is that the one that featured the Poffos in an early beginnings of Macho Man match?
There is some. So ICW was the Poffos company.
Yes.
In like Lexington, and they were kind of the outlaw company running in Memphis. I do have ICW lost tapes on there. I do have a few other releases that I think have some ICW footage on there. So there's definitely some Poffo. There's definitely some early Macho Man on there. Not as much as I'd like, but the day is still. And there's a lot of IWAs. The Einhorn IWA that I'm releasing. There's an IWA Japan I'll be doing some stuff with in 2025. Not to mention all the independent IWAs. So a lot out there.
Matt, who does all the great gifts on social media, who we love, it feels like you get a greater level of appreciation of a piece of media whenever you have a physical form. Become so desensitized by all the digital media. Yeah, you get like the fire hose, and it's just like, oh, it's just another thing, And there is like,
it happens with a lot of media.
I think it happens with a lot.
Like it's not even just with wrestling.
Oh yeah,
it happens with like video games.
Yep.
Like the biggest thing over here is like with Game Pass and stuff like that. And just kind of like what Joe was saying, like those games go away. They don't stay there forever.
I was pontificating with somebody a couple of days ago. I think this was when while we were watching the pay-per-view on Saturday night, and I remembered why didn't we like spend so much time with X, Y, and Z thing, like kind of thing. And I was like, and I drew back to, I was like, you realize like growing up, a lot of us had 3 channels. Wrestling was probably on Sunday morning. And instead of the internet to fill all those gaps, I had a video game magazine and a wrestling magazine that came in every month. And I would pore over those over and over again for the month because that's all I had coming to me to get more of this thing that I loved to follow.
I think that's one thing that this generation misses out on and won't ever understand is that anticipation, right?
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw goes off the air and, oh my God, it's crazy. We'll see you next week. And then, oh my God, I got to wait, see what happens next. You had to wait 5-6 days for the weekend shows, or you found one of the first tapes that I ever got that was outside of like the mainstream wrestling was IWA Japan, Kawasaki Dream, the deathmatch tournament with Terry Funk and Mick Foley. just to see that, and like it's in like grainy Japanese lettering on the cover, and like there's a bunch of bloody faces on it. It just it feels dangerous. It feels illegal, right?
Yeah.
It feels like you're not supposed to watch it. And then you get it. It might be like 4th generation. It's got tracking issues. You got to squint to see it, but you appreciate it that much more because you had to work to get it. And it's great that everything is at the drop of a hat, and I could literally just never leave my house and just watch wrestling on a loop and never see the same thing twice. But you don't appreciate it as much because it's at your fingertips instead of something you got to scour for.
Awesome. Hey, also from the chat real quick, I don't know if they're out there, but shout out to our friends at Warrior Wrestling that apparently popped in on the YouTube. Just said all these guys. So even you, Riz, apparently. I don't think you went to Chicago with us. Man, those were good. I miss Warrior Wrestling.
I miss
so
Warrior
bad.
Wrestling too. Yeah.
I mean, I'll take it.
Riz misses Warrior Wrestling too.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
Hey, but we are the soundtrack and the eyes and ears of so much of those broadcasts.
I know.
Principal Steve and Dominic and the whole team out there, it always did such a great job.
They're doing cool stuff,
Yeah.
though. I mean, I've been seeing the videos pop up of doing the breweries, the bounce park they did a show in. Did you see that?
I didn't. You know what the best part is I don't think they book Frank the Clown anymore. So really, we all win.
I mean, yeah,
we all win,
right? So. God, I think I saw him in the distance WrestleMania weekend or something. Just like
and you
brought back
ran
all the memories. Well, at least I
ran.
didn't like feel like I needed to throw up like that one show in Grand Rapids. Were you on that show? When I almost threw up in the middle of the show.
I think so. Yeah.
And it was during a Frank the Clown.
It always is.
It was so. I was like, and I couldn't let that go on social media. I'm like, I literally had to ask for a puke bucket during, like, legitimately, it. It turned out for a different reason that was really peculiar, but it was just like, what's the timing here, you know?
That's why you're a pro.
Yes. I remember when he called our footage WCW Thunder when we couldn't find somebody in the crowd because they fought on the crowd and into the dark, and we're like, we can't see anything, guys. And he just like, "There's an old WCW Thunder out there." It was like, fuck you, Frank. I was so bad.
Oh, bless his heart.
Oh my God. I was supposed to talk about Survivor Series in this segment, but I kind of don't care right now.
Yeah,
I don't know. We got War Games this weekend.
Happening.
It's going to be great. Inner workings, Paul Heyman, CM Punk. Oh my God. Everybody, grown men are crying again. Or whatever the case may be. But no.
There's so many people doing a lot of deep dives on a lot of professional wrestling.
Oh my God. When you start seeing... like every time there's a Marvel trailer, somebody goes in and tries to go and dissect every little thing in the background and what it could be and how it relates to the comic book.
Paul Heyman winked.
Like,
did you see Paul Heyman wink?
Did you see him wink at him? You see that wink? Yes.
Yeah, you see
the one where Paul Heyman is wearing the same suit that Solo Sikoa used to wear. Like, what the hell are we doing?
I love that though.
It's so great.
That's perfect.
That's such a far cry from being spoon-fed everything.
Yes.
And feeling like you're an idiot for watching it, even though you're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
It gives people a reason to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you that details matter. And I think one of the biggest problems was just how superficial everything used to be, and everything was in a 4-week cycle. You build your PLE, and then it happens, and then we forget everything that happened, move on.
We just built a match that doesn't even happen on Survivor Series. It's going to have a Saturday night's main event between Cody and Kevin Owens. I don't even think they're on the show this weekend.
No, they're not.
Right?
There you go.
And it's a big 4. That's how much damn talent you have.
Exactly.
Why have a half-assed world championship that is obviously going to be filler thing because you have 2 War Games matches that everybody's really there for? You know, like, they're so good at spreading that out, and it's not a predictable, hey, we have a Raw SmackDown. It's just like, oh, we'll just have this blow off over here. We'll have this blow off over here. And then, like, you know, the structure of those shows is so much more interesting, right?
Yes, and it's smarter because as something else is cooling down, there's something right there ready to heat up.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And going back to like the backstage segments, you're trying to look now in the background for other segments happening in the background of the segment that you're watching. And you're trying to see like if there's any background, like any little detail you can find.
It's in the culture, but this is that comic book writer they hired. They hired a comic book writer a couple years ago as a continuity expert.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
This is very much like
this is the kind of thing when you're watching Marvel movies. This is the kind of thing when you're watching the comic book and something that you noticed pays off. Oh, I remember that thing from 13 issues ago, and that came together here. You get the little Stanley asterisk that says, "Remember, True Believers." That's the only thing missing from WWE is a little like Triple H, like, "Hey guys, remember when this happened?" You know,
it's very video game like as well. What like having Easter eggs pop in and out of different circumstances, and going like, "Oh, is that Freddy Fazbear back there? Huh, that's cool." And oh, you can press a little button here and it goes. It honks. But like you see something like last week, there was the segment with Kofi and Xavier Woods. One thing I didn't notice, internet noticed, was the chain that Kofi was wearing had a little emblem of the Majin from Dragon Ball Z.
That's why everybody has this, like Kofi's the one that's going heel thing.
But then this week, Xavier Woods, like they both had different Dragon Ball Z stuff on. Kofi had on Goku,
and Xavier had Black Goku from the Super Series, which is like evil Goku.
So it's like I 100% know Xavier Woods is planning this.
Yeah.
Like he's doing this bit by bit, and it's amazing. It's what's drawing me to this now.
And then now that pulls in your little geekdom is like, I know Dragon Ball. I know this means this. I know, like you're layering on top of layering. It's like it's like a damn onion of storytelling. Great. So, but my God, the crazy wall keeping the story together in the back has got to be amazing. That is like a Word document. I don't want to see freeform, one of those new whatever the hells. We need a sledgehammer in the corner to note the Triple H mark. Oh my God. If there's what was it? I got a DVD of the original X-Men movie. It was 1.5. And if there was a deleted scene that could be integrated into the movie in that moment, a little icon like an X popped up in the corner. You hit the button on your remote and it loaded that scene instead.
Okay.
Like the extended scene of like Scott and Logan talking, after Gene left the room kind of thing. And stuff like that. Like just like that kind of thing. I want that, especially if I DVR this shit, or note that for later. Explain this to me later. Oh my God, it's all Dragon Ball gifs on the side here. I just noticed it.
Yep, I saw that too. And I'm like,
somebody put it next to each other of the game or the cartoon and that's so good. Anyways, War Games is gonna be great. It's gonna be a War Games. There's gonna be a lot of stories. Punk's back, so we don't have to have that happen again.
Also, the Punk versus Owens match is going to be amazing.
Punk versus Owens? Are we setting that up?
Oh no, it's bound to happen now.
I mean, I hope kind of in general, but like I can't remember where the beef came from. But I mean, I just want.
Well, he's joining Roman.
Oh, so it's another guy he's not going to just because he's just going to hate everybody that's teamed back up with Roman, which means we're going to have another go around with Sammy. We're having another go. Yeah. Oh no. Okay. I got you. So I like that. And also there's like this element of Kevin Owens is not wrong.
He's not.
Like there's a very Thanos was right vibe to it.
Well, I mean, the best villains believe they're right, right? And not just in wrestling, but in so many areas of pop culture.
Absolutely.
I mean, the best villains have a grounded, rational point of view. They just either, they take it too far.
Yep.
Or they have flawed logic to it.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case. Something that makes the audience go, oh, well, maybe he's got, oh, no, that's too much.
Yeah.
And then you're off the boat.
I was with you till this point,
Exactly. But it's grounded in some type of logic that, we don't need the old school, comic book villains twirling their mustaches, tying the girl to the train tracks, right? It can be more nuanced.
I mean, we could do that.
We could. Well, I mean, you might be. I know you do some shady stuff in Western New York, so you might be doing that already. But I think it's just a situation where the more nuanced that character is, the more realistic it is. Because there isn't black and white in the world. There are shades of gray, you know? You could name the most evil person you can think of that you know right now. Maybe they love animals, you know? Maybe they read to orphans on weekends. You don't know, but there's always that nuance there that takes you on that journey.
Absolutely. So anyway, what we watch at Survivor Series, I'm sure we'll tweet about it or something. It's a 6 o'clock start time too.
Really?
Yeah, 6 p.m. Eastern time.
That's interesting. I'll be on the road
Is there a
when it
UFC
happens.
Yeah.
And it's also my birthday that day. I'm assuming that's why they're doing this.
Happy Survivor Series Day.
Why, thank you.
Yes. And Survivor Series to you, and a War Games to you too.
Yes. Merry War Games to all.
Merry War Games to all. Well, one way you can celebrate, maybe when you get back from your trip, is our friends on Slice on Broadway. They've done some birthday pizzas for us before, and our friends, sometimes in the shape of Hello Kitty. This is true. And also, they've been supporting the show. We got the pepperoni pizza here. Joe's enjoyed some of it here. Perfect pepperoni pizza supporting Pittsburgh podcasting. New York City style yins are made so many locations around the city. Don't kick in the door, partner. Sending us just pictures last week. But I also... They don't know this. I'm starting a new campaign for them because I had a conversation with a fellow on the phone, the wonderful people of Slice on Broadway. And he said, Rico, we can get this into Rico's here. And I was like, I thought it would be great tonight if we had like a Thanksgiving feast pizza, right? A little bit of turkey, a little bit of stuffing on it, maybe some cranberry in the crust, you know, something like that. You know, they used to do these kind of pizza inventions there, right?
They also have good hoagies.
They got some hoagies.
Oh
my God! It could be a Thanksgiving dinner hoagie. Oh, that's even better. And then I walk in. It's like I've been thinking about this for the last 25 minutes. But we should go get my pizza. Yeah. And don't you guys have some kind of ham? He's like, well, we got capicola. I'm like,
that's ham.
That's ham enough for me.
Yeah.
That's a holiday Christmas pizza starting point, because I'm like, what, you got like Hawaiian pizza or something here, right? He's like, well, you did the capicola. I'm like, oh, well, there you go. I was like, get this in Rico's ear. We'll be messaging him, and that's why I'm asking you, Mayhem Nation, you're gonna reach out, you're gonna get on your Xbox. Whatever social media you're on, go find Slice on Broadway. Did they update their social media yet? I hope they have. Oh, that's the wrong thing. That's not them at all. SliceOnBroadway.com.
What are
Go to
you
SliceOnBroadway.com. Figure out which social medias they're on these days. I don't know what anybody's on. You have to double check that now. Do your due diligence. Hit them up and on whatever social media and be like, listen, holiday pizza, ham, whatever you think of for what's a Christmas? I can't remember what Christmas dinner is. It's the one without turkey, typically, right? Ham. Just ham. Just get your Christmas
just
ham,
a whole bunch of
pizza.
Fish on one.
Give me your turkey dinner hoagie, and there you go. And then we're gonna help.
Just make a sandwich. A pizza that has 7 different fishes on it. It's perfectly fine.
7 fishes. Oh, wait, wasn't that an Italian thing too?
That's an Italian thing.
Thank you, the bear. So I yell hands in the kitchen because of them. I yelled hands the other day. I was like, you should have yelled hands if you needed me. It's like, that's for plating. I'm like, it's still what I respond to. Anyways, sometimes I yell hands when I'm doing production too. Anyways, Slice on Broadway. The 7 fishes of your pizza-ness, hopefully this holiday, if Rico listens to this, and the people. Let the people know! The pizza people. Okay, I got that out of my system here. I forgot to preview what we were going to do, because we're not going to tell you what we learned from wrestling this week, guys. If you watch the social media, I actually put it out there with the Wrestle Turkey. What are you thankful for in pro wrestling this year? Pause for dramatic effect.
No, like I've been trying to think of this for quite some time. Like wrestling in general has done a lot for me. Like I haven't thought about it as much, but like working wrestling, meeting wrestlers that we've all worked with, doing all this stuff like the podcast and all that, like I'm just thankful to be like that minute of a difference.
You're a relatively known entity. I always say we're a known entity in the wrestling business, and you're part of that.
Yeah,
including that time you shunned Hornswoggle.
Yeah, the one time I shunned Swoggle, I'm sorry. That wasn't my fault. It was Chachi's fault. But like hearing like people actually liking the stuff that I've done, especially on like going back to RWA this year, where like the whole Super Hentai and HL Supreme thing.
I'll put you over on this one. Riz has helmed the graphics department for RWA for the entire year. And I'd say you've done like 80% of the shows, right? I'm sure that works with 10 shows, 11 shows.
Yeah.
But you not only are you getting those names right, but also like Super Hentai's name was under duress and trademark infringement. So there was a whole thing where somebody would come out, Preston Everest was coming out and was Super Hentai. So when he comes out and it says no, no, no.
You know how many jokes just popped into my head I can't say right now?
I know, right? I know. You can't on this show probably. But
okay, I shouldn't.
If you go backstage to RWA, it happens all the time.
Riz has comedic timing of on the fly changing the graphic.
Okay.
Like backspacing.
Yes,
one letter at a
backspacing and just typing in the correction as it's being corrected for the audience by hand cuts. Or the wrestler or something like that. For instance, I think Super Hentai, there's also a Super Hentai story. I think he was supposed to be the member of the Rumble that got replaced by cameraman Matt. To which you deleted everything.
And then I put a question mark after Matt as well. I was like, wait,
so
Matt?
I don't know if you, Matt Carlins was submitted into the Rumble Renegade Rumble, excuse me.
Renegade Rumble.
Wrong promotion. And went in, came face to face with Malachi Gage, and Malachi rushed him. He actually has an elimination over Malachi Gage. Gets pulled out. Crash Jackson got in the way, and then they ran.
Well, that's a whole lot of dude.
They ran out. It is a whole lot of dude. And now he's the RWA champion. Congratulations, Crash.
Not world champion.
No, don't say world champion around Quinn. He gets her so bad about it.
And Quinn's right too.
Yes, he is. But,
he is right.
But that just makes us want to say it more.
You damn rebels.
Especially when we're in the chat room and no, he can't touch us because he's a big dude. So, anyways, Riz has been. I will, as a side, I'm very thankful for people like Riz that make this whole experiment work because pro wrestling.
I just press a button, Sorg.
They just try. Yeah. You're a professional button pusher, right?
That's what I do.
All
right.
right.
A magnet go.
And Joe just talks on a mic.
I know the words.
I just say the words. Oh my God. Dave Ponner is thankful that we had a final removal of Vince from the WWE TKO, and the stories have gotten so much better. Also, AEW is the place for sickos. Happy we have a place. Joe, what are you thankful for in wrestling this year?
Well, first, I will tell you what I learned from wrestling.
Okay,
since on my mind, I will say I've learned that I could rescue and salvage every promotion out of every country and every territory. I could find Frank Gotch's world title win from 1904, and even if I did that, I would not be as successful in life as something called the Rizzler. So, unfortunately.
You gotta know your limit.
I know my limitations in this world.
Yes.
I understand. I know my place. But what am I thankful for in wrestling? I'm thankful for a few things. I'm thankful to see so many of my friends that are successful out there. To see somebody like Johnny Gargano on SmackDown every week.
Oh my God, yes.
Working with Alex Shelley. I was there. I called their match in Cleveland at Turner's Hall for JT Lightning when Johnny was 19. And he met Shelley, and he's referenced that on SmackDown. And now to see them together and still have that mentor-mentee relationship.
The three of them were on the first show I ever filmed for IWC.
Yeah.
Newell.
Warms my heart to see Joaquin Wilde working with Rey Mysterio and doing the LWO thing.
My God.
Lee Moriarty in Ring of Honor. Congrats to Daniel Garcia for his win at the pay-per-view.
Yes.
I know Cole Carter's on the mend on the comeback. Our boy Tony Mamaluke on NXT a few weeks ago, right?
I popped when I saw that.
Tony Mamaluke there. To see so many good people have genuinely, great success. I love that for them, and I love seeing great talent and great people get rewarded. I'm thankful for the business in general and how vibrant it is, how strong it is, how we can have 4, 5, 6 national companies, an international scene, no matter what your niche is, whether you like women's wrestling, whether you like deathmatch wrestling, whether you like chain wrestling, whatever it is, there's a place for you, and there's a place for it. And I love that so many different areas of the sport are selling out and breaking records and doing big things. They say a high tide will rise all ships. So hopefully, as things continue to go well up top, that benefits everybody. And I'm just very thankful to be a small part of all that, and to be able to have the freedom and the opportunity to do what I love and do what I want, and that's tell stories on so many levels. And whether that story happens live for MLW in New York City in 2 weeks, or whether it happened in 1975 at a Chicago baseball stadium and I get to voice it now. Whatever the case is, I get to be a part of that, and I get to add my passion and my emotion and my love to these footage, this video, these packages, whatever the case is, and share that with the world, and hopefully make them feel something just like it's made me feel something for 34 years now, just about. So just thankful to be on this journey and to be where I'm meant to be, doing what I love.
I think I'm with you on some of the sentiments there, kind of a similar thing. I kind of had a call to resolution or something at the beginning of the year that I wanted to lean into more of what I like to do and who I like to do it with. I had a rash of, it wasn't only like only a couple instances in pro wrestling, but more in some other lines of work in promotions and sports or whatever, where I was finding myself just getting into some really crappy situations with some of the productions that we were doing, and I'm just like, I don't know if I needed to gatekeep or what it was, or lean into the people more that I thought were doing really, really good things. To that end, I know I've stated versions of this either here or on Patreon over last few weeks, months, or whatever. I feel myself very fortunate to be in, I think, very much on the high end and the low end right now of wrestling production. I feel like we have, on the high end, again, very, very thankful for our working relationship with New Japan. Missy's helping out with the streams again, and really fortunate, that they bring us in and do something when they need to fill a hole here and there. But obviously, NWA Exodus is the most TV ready place I've worked with, and that's learning that organization. Joe, I know this is old hat to you. You've seen these places like on this level, for a while now. But other than Rich showing me at a Warrior Wrestling, how these kind of shows come together on the back end in the organization and how to make them run better in general. Like, just getting little bits of that, and maybe not every wrestling promotion is on like that whole page together, right? And that's definitely happening at a place like they're obviously getting people ready to go on NWA TV, right? And it's been so and I've seen those people on other shows that we do with some of our partners, and it's like realizing how much how they present themselves look light years beyond some people that we work with on a regular basis. That was a wake up call for me. And to the point, obviously low end, I don't want to call them low end, but it's a training school, first of all, kind of promotion. But we are doing that training school every week, and we're trying to bring elements of what we're learning there. Because honestly, the people we work with week to week with, I want them to be using this time in front of a camera, not only just learning to be in front of the camera, but learning to be in front of the camera the right way. And I think that's very important, because I think I had to have a talking with some referees lately, because I was like, listen, if you're not in the right position, you're in front of 2 or 3 cameras and it looks amateur.
It's like, we're going to show your butt.
Yeah. I was trying not to put it like that, but it was like, this is amateur hour. Let's pretend we're professionals. And this is where the hard cam is. And I literally will show you a WWE match and where you should stand. You know, like, because if you're going anywhere else, if you don't know how to do that, you ain't coming back.
Correct.
You know, and
those are the shows you got to learn that stuff out.
And just taking a little more, like, you know, we're not just the crew just showing up to shoot whatever the hell happens in front of us anymore.
You always got to treat it like a job, even when it's not, because if you don't, it never will become one. Absolutely.
And it can be a fun job, but it's still a job, and you got to make sure the work gets done, and don't let the fun get in front of it. But no, and again, we have really great partners. Everybody I work with, you know, is, you know, somebody I think is worth working with, and really appreciate everybody that's in our circle of productions. I don't know, there's a better way to put that. So, but thank you everybody that does work with us here and let us film your shows and put it out and get it in front of the eyeballs for you. From the chat room, at least one more from Matt Burge, True Prince Pro on the social medias. Thankful for having a platform that allows me to support all my friends in wrestling, and that allows me to express my creativity in many different ways. And that's it. You know, this, and, you know, Matt, and you know, I talked about, like, the video, the promo video for 880. I love doing a show and just somebody with a better camera doing a different job put some stuff out on the internet. I'm like, oh my God, that makes that show look like like when I saw, like, video of a birthday party in a guy's backyard and it looked like the most epic wrestling show you've ever seen. Like, they just did 3 matches for the kid's birthday party and everything. And then we went and did a Halloween show later, and it was incredible. You know, it's just that really kind of goes to, you know, Joe, we've talked about perception's everything.
Yeah,
right?
perception's reality.
And it's and if you have the people with the cameras and the artistic style that makes your promotion look better than everybody else in town, just because of that presentation,
100%.
that goes a long way.
Yeah, and people like Matt are really utilizing social media the way I think it should be in terms of our business. Is you're not going to complain about what you don't like or what you don't watch, or just, you know, hate tweet for engagement. You see some people do. Amplify what you love.
Yes.
Put it out there. Make those videos. Make
Especially
those
today.
graphics. You know, put everything out there that's going to help and enhance the people you want to support and the people you want to see get more eyeballs, because that's how it's going to work. It's going to be word of mouth, and hate travels faster than love, unfortunately, on the internet. And you don't want to feed into that and be part of that cesspool and quagmire and get people turned off on it. Give them something new, someone new that they should check out, and maybe you'll help your favorite wrestler make a new fan.
Absolutely. You never know. You know, also, you never know who's watching.
That's true.
Anything from the lowest training show to, you know, an NWA live stream or pay-per-view or whatever. You have no idea what eyeballs are on you that are going to get you into the next thing. That's how I've gotten all my success.
All of my biggest breaks started with happy accidents. It was never anything I intended to do. It set off a chain of events to get there. And I tell people, I got to England because I knew P.D. Williams' email address. I got to Ring of Honor because I befriended Jimmy Jacobs 7 years earlier. I got to MLW because of a chance phone call with Kevin Kelly. I got to AAA because I rented guardrails to Extreme Rising in 2012.
Oh, jeez.
Nothing I do makes sense. Nothing I do was on talent and merit. It just happened to be, hey, he knows words and doesn't drool on himself.
But it is also, you've shown your talent, and you've shown that you're not a shitty person to work with.
That comes eventually,
yeah. But it's like, you still need to. It's hard to demo reel that. You know, hi, I'm not a weirdo that directs wrestling. You know,
or I am a weirdo, but I can be your kind of weirdo.
I can be your kind of weirdo. You're like, that's our kind of weirdo over there.
They can make your weird look good.
Sounds like a relationship card, or actually, that actually is like.
You see, weird people just need to hire perpetually weirder people so they look normal by comparison. It's like the old Jim Cornette story where Ole Anderson told him, you were the shits when you started, but ever since, even shittier people have come up behind you, so you've just gotten better by comparison. That's people in wrestling with weirdness.
Oh my God, that's no, not going there. Joe Dombrowski, thank you for coming by and talking some old. This is good. We haven't had a good 8-hour car ride to do this on for a long time.
Hey, we'll change that. Come to Indiana with me this weekend.
Oh, I'm booked at the Jagoff holiday parade this weekend. So let's.
The what? Who? Don't get hot about
it. Listen. So, oh God, maybe I'll explain it on Patreon to you. Okay, I'll be doing that. That'll be live on TripLive.com. Actually, in touch with our old buddy Justin LaBar for that live stream.
LaBar!
I want to yell that. I hope he's on the call that we're supposed to be having tomorrow, so I can do that for him. He was like, "Hey, Dombrowski said has a message for you." But anyways, jeez. And what else is going on? Oh, Wednesday night, of course, like I mentioned, 880 Wrestling at Penn Brewery in the city. Accessible as fuck if you're in the city. And of course, our friends up in Erie, Pennsylvania, doing Big League Pro Wrestling. John McChesney's and company's group up there. A lot of great stuff there. Donovan Jagat, Pretty Boy Smooth for NWA Exodus Midwest. I can't remember what the name is. There's too many words. NWA Midwest Championship. Thank you. Sorry about that. And it's
He didn't
late.
say anything. He just decided to say that. He said thank you.
You'll thank me later. And you can check out all those stuff. Go check out our friends out there. Go to IndyWrestling.us. We have those shared over on the Facebook page whenever we see those things come up. And that's it. We'll be back next week. Facade the Neon Ninja will be back with us. Yes, we'll talk more Juggalo shit because he's the longest person I've known from wrestling. From before wrestling in the Juggalo world, so we'll be talking a lot about that too from a different lens. Thank you, everybody. Patreon's happening, and we'll try about who knows. I'm going to explain a fake parade to Joe Dombrowski that we do in Pittsburgh now.
It's not a fake parade. It's a parade.
It's a real parade. It's inverted. Go look up your Jagoff, not your average holiday parade on the internet. There's been 2 of them, and we'll explain it. We'll see you guys next time. See you on Patreon. Mayhem out.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. Is me, and this is record. And hi, Patreon. Hello, friends. Riz is here, the original recipe, and Joe Dombrowski.
You say recipe or recipe?
Wecipe. Wascally Wecipe. Whiz.
Whiz?
No, we're not.
Wessel fan.
So what they do at this parade,
Uh-huh.
okay, Joe, is they're going to have, so instead of you going and a parade goes by you, I think this was started because PXI stopped their holiday parade, and it was COVID, coming out COVID. So so what they do is they go to a parking lot up in the McKnight Road in the shopping center, and they set up 4 stations, right? And they're in the back of this truck that's been donated by like Rorick Auto or whatever, right? And they're going around to each of the 4 stations, and as they go, those stations swap out. So maybe there's somebody playing music, maybe there's somebody that's like Mancini's Bakery, and they made this bread sculpture or something. Like there's different people that kind of get interviewed, right, as we stop off at each stop. But it's 4 stations, so we reset the station, and we think they do about 6 laps, right? So go to the next one, on the next one. And oh, look who's here! It's so and so, and you talk with them. It's comedian Matt Light. It's this person or this person, this guy from TV or something, local TV or something. And then at the end, you turn around to the back of the truck, and Santa has arrived.
So it's not a parade. It's more like speed dating.
It's not your it's kind of like a speed dating parade presentation kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to date Matt Light. He's not my type.
I understand that. Just, yeah.
So it's not really a parade then.
It's not your average parade.
It's not your average anything. No,
It's kind of a reverse parade.
You're not your average interviewer.
It's there's that too. There's an average. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's a reverse parade, kind of like reverse mortgage.